Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I have something for you. I have Act 5 of Julius Caesar for class 10th ICSE board. So Act 5 can be quite complex for some students because we have multiple number of factors here, and it's the peak and we can say last act of the play. So the conclusion is included in this Act 5. So I think that this is a very important act of the play, and we are supposed to have some questions in board exams, especially stanza type questions, follow-up questions. So I have 6 super stanzas, super lines spoken by some characters, and I believe that these will help you a lot, and we may have some of the questions in final exams. So we start one by one, and we will try to give good answers to these questions. So let's start it. So first extract question: why does Antony call the conspirators villains? Antony calls them villains because he believes that they murdered Caesar treacherously and without honor. They pretended to be loyal to Caesar but stabbed him collectively. So his anger reflects his deep loyalty and grief for Caesar. Second question: what animal imagery does Antony use and why? Antony compares the conspirators to apes, hounds, and bondmen to show their cowardice and flattery. This imagery highlights how they behaved like submissive creatures before Caesar. So it emphasizes their hypocrisy and lack of noble intention. Third question: what does this speech reveal about Antony's feelings toward Brutus and Cassius? Antony feels intense hatred and contempt towards Brutus and Cassius. He sees them as deceptive and undeserving of honor. His speech reveals a desire for revenge and moral superiority. Next question: who is damned Casca and what did he do? Casca is one of the conspirators, we know that, who stabbed Caesar first. Antony condemns him, especially because he struck Caesar from behind. So this act symbolizes ultimate betrayal and cowardice. Next question: how does this extract show the theme of betrayal? In this scene, the conspirators pretended to be loyal to Caesar but murdered him violently. Antony's description emphasizes the dishonor in their actions. The imagery of flattery followed by stabbing highlights betrayal at its worst. Now we have second extract: I don't cross you, but I will do so. To whom is Brutus speaking? Simple. Brutus is speaking to Octavius, and they are having a heated argument before the battle begins. The tension shows political and personal conflict between both sides. Second question: what does Brutus mean by I will do so? Brutus means that although he is not opposing Octavius at the moment, he intends to oppose him in battle. It is a direct challenge. The line shows his determination to fight for what he believes is right. Next question: what is the context of this confrontation? This confrontation happened just before the final battle at Philippi. Both sides exchange insults and threats. The argument symbolizes the growing hostility and inevitability of war. Next question: what does this line reveal about Brutus's character? It shows Brutus's firmness and resolve. He is polite in words but strong in purpose. It also reflects his confidence and moral certainty in his cause. How does this moment foreshadow the final conflict? Foreshadow means to say it is talking about upcoming time or future. The exchange indicates that violent confrontation is unavoidable. Both leaders are ready for war, showing no compromise. It foreshadows the tragic end that soon follows for Brutus. Third extract: O coward that I am, to live so long, to see my best friend taken before my face. Who has taken or captured or killed their causes of Cassius to say this. Cassius believes that Titanius, his close friend, has been captured by the enemy. So this belief is based on a misunderstanding. The sadness and shock made him blame himself. Why does Cassius call himself a coward? Cassius feels he has failed as a leader. He regrets living long enough to witness his friend's apparent capture. So his guilt and helplessness make him judge himself harshly. Third question, what misunderstanding leads to this tragic moment? Cassius' servant mistakenly reports that Titanius has been surrounded by enemy soldiers. In reality, Titanius was being greeted by friendly forces. So this wrong assumption leads Cassius to despair. How does this sentiment contribute to the theme of honor? Cassius' reaction shows how deeply he values loyalty and friendship. He cannot bear the thought of failing a friend. So his willingness to die reflects the Roman idea of honor over life. Why is this moment significant for Cassius' character? It marks the tragic end of his journey from a confident conspirator to a hopeless commander. So his death results from guilt and misjudgment. It also shows the collapse of the conspiracy he helped create. So next stanza is, here Cassius to Pandarus, here take thou the hilts, and when my face is covered as this now guide thou the sword. What is Cassius asking Pandarus to do? Cassius asks Pandarus to hold the sword and help him commit suicide. He wants to die quickly and avoid further humiliation. This act shows his loss of hope. Why does Cassius decide to die this way? He believes Titanius is dead because of his orders. Guilt and despair overwhelm him. Rather than face defeat or shame, he chooses an honorable Roman death. Third, what earlier events caused Cassius to lose hope? His army is weakening and his strategies are failing. Miscommunication increases his fear. The mistaken belief that his friend is captured breaks him emotionally. How is loyalty shown in this moment? Pandarus follows Cassius' last command, even though it is difficult. Cassius trusts him completely. Both display loyalty in their final interaction. How does Cassius' death affect the course of the battle? His death weakens the morale of his troops. It leaves Brutus without this or his strongest ally. This loss contributes to the eventual defeat of the conspirators. Next one is, Caesar, now be still, I killed not thee with half so good a will. What does Brutus mean when he addresses Caesar? Brutus is speaking to Caesar's spirit, believing it has been haunting him. He tells Caesar to rest now because Brutus is about to die. This shows his belief is in supernatural justice. Why does he say he kills himself with better will? Brutus feels more willing to kill himself than he was to kill Caesar. So he believes his own death is necessary and justified. It shows his guilt for Caesar's murder. How does this reflect Brutus's guilt? Brutus admits that killing Caesar was against his personal feelings. By saying he dies more willingly, he shows regret and emotional burden. The line reflects his moral conflict throughout the play. What theme of the play is reflected in this line? The theme of guilt and inner conflict is strongly highlighted. It also shows the theme of fate and justice. As Brutus feels he must pay for Caesar's death, honor through suicide is also a Roman value, shown here. How does this line serve as Brutus's final statement on his actions? He acknowledges that killing Caesar was a mistake. His final words show repentance and self-awareness. It brings closer to his moral dilemma. Last extract. This was the noblest Roman of them all. Why does Antony call Brutus the noblest Roman? Antony believes Brutus acted out of genuine concern for Rome, not personal jealousy. So unlikely the others, Brutus's motives were honorable. Antony respects his sincerity even in defeat. How does Antony's view of Brutus differ from his view of the other conspirators? He sees the other conspirators as selfish and envious of Caesar. Brutus alone acted for the common good. So this difference earns Brutus Antony's admiration. What does this line reveal about Antony's character? It shows Antony's ability to acknowledge virtue even in an enemy. So he is generous in judgment and respects honor. This reveals his statesmanship and fairness. How does this line shape the audience's final impression of Brutus? The audience sees Brutus as honorable despite his tragic choices. Antony's praise elevates Brutus's moral standing. It reinforces sympathy for him as a tragic hero. What theme does this final praise reinforce? It reinforces the theme of honor versus ambition. True honor, as shown by Brutus, survives even after failure. It also highlights the complexity of human motives in a political conflict. So that was all about this play. I hope these stanzas or extracts will help you a lot.